If I could have your attention, please. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight and call the regular meeting of the Harnett County Board of Commissioners for March 15th, 2021 to order. At this time, like to ask Commissioner Matt Nickel if he would lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, thank you for another wonderful day. Thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us each day. I pray for the safety and the well-being of our citizens. I pray that you watch over our first responders and those currently deployed serving our country. Lord, be with those who are sick and those families who are currently suffering and affected by this pandemic. We ask you as a board for guidance and direction in leading this county and serving its citizens. Lord, we ask you these things.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. This time we'll consider any additions or deletions to the published agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Paula Stewart. We have three possible add-ons. Number one is the Harnett County Health Department requests approval to accept additional COVID funds in the amount of $351,232 to assist local health departments with vaccinations for COVID-19. We're suggesting item 4G on the consent agenda. The next item on the consent agenda would be 4H, the County of Harnett sale of real property located at 817 South 8th Street in Lillington to Macias Enterprise LLC. And then another item will be suggested of 9A, proposed resolutions concerning transaction between Harnett Health Systems Incorporated, HHS, and Cumberland County Hospital System, Inc., doing business as Cape Fear Valley Health System, CFVHS. And that's all we have.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. So we have two additions to the consent agenda. That would be 4G and 4H, and then a standalone suggested to be 9A. Is there any other additions or deletions? This time I'll accept a motion for the amended agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as amended.
Thank you, Commissioner Witherspoon. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have consideration of consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner McCoy. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And I think our attorney had a question, Mr. Snow.
I did not. Mr. Weatherford thought he'd already voted on the consent agenda, and basically he would approve the agenda as modified, basically.
Okay, because I thought I wanted to clarify that because he said he was amending the consent agenda, so it should be the consent agenda and the regular agenda, if that would be okay, to amend his motion.
Understood. Commissioner Witherspoon?
Mr. Chairman, I'll amend my motion to cover the amendments or the additions to the consent agenda and the regular agenda.
And Commissioner Nickel?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We now have a period of up to 30 minutes for informal comments, allowing 3 minutes for each presentation. Do we have anyone on the phone that would like to address the board tonight?
Yes, this is Roger Farina.
Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Roger Farina, 306 Pine Valley, Maine.
We're going to cut the volume up just a little bit, Mr. Farina, and we'll let you begin.
I submitted an email I don't know if you want to read that from your site or if you just want me to.
Yes, sir. We have the email. We can read that if you would prefer, or you can have 3 minutes to speak. Which would you
Yeah, no, if
prefer?
you would read that, that would probably be best.
All
so
right.
it can clearly be heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's one adjustment. I put the word 2 in there. It should be 3 in the second sentence.
Okay. Ms. Lucas, you have that second sentence?
Okay. This is from Roger Farina. He said, I represent myself. These comments do not represent any organization or committee. I would like to ask the 3 following items be added to a county commissioner work session for following approval. 1, approve adding a name to Highway 87 in western Harnett County. The name should be Barbecue Creek Boulevard. Amend the Harnett County Economic Development Committee bylaws to add the Harnett County School Superintendent and the Chairman of the Harnett County School Board to the Economic Development Committee. Then he says background. 1, Highway 87 stretches for over 200 miles from Eden, North Carolina to Wilmington, North Carolina. If you were to identify a stretch of the highways as Horner Boulevard, you would know you were in Sanford in Lee County. If you said Fort Bragg Boulevard, you would know you were in Spring Lake in Cumberland County. In Harnett County, Highway 87 passes through multiple municipalities that are based outside the county. If you were to try to identify a stretch of Highway 87 in Sanford or Spring Lake, odds have it that you would find yourself identifying a location in Cumberland or Lee County and not Harnett County. With the multiple name jurisdictions in western Harnett, this area has no focused identity. By adding a name to the portion of Highway 87 that passes through western Harnett County, this will preclude this from happening by giving this area a solid foundation. Number 2, a suggested name is Barbecue Creek Boulevard. This is a name that first appeared on cartographic charts as early as 1770 by John Collette. You can see the name barbecue in the middle of the image just to the left of the spine split. This is a great name that links to this area's heritage. Number 3, both Campbell University and Central Carolina Community College have representation on the Harnett County Economic Development Committee. Both offer solutions in creating opportunities in economic growth and workforce development. Harnett County Schools is where workforce development begins in our community. In fact, CCCC offers students course at the high school level. Further, Harnett County Schools is the largest employer in the county. Lastly, we are missing out on great opportunity by having Dr. Aaron Fleming's background and expertise in both economic and workforce development on the Economic Development Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lucas. Appreciate you sharing that. Thank you, Mr. Farina, for sending that in. Do we have anyone else on the?
Thank you for considering it. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do we have anyone else on the phone that would like to speak?
This is Gary Peacock, 190 Pinecroft Drive, Dunn, North Carolina. I've been to Warren Aviation for the past 7 years. Mr. Warren passed away in early December, and I was told that trustees of his estate wanted to assign the remainder of the contract over to me. I immediately called Commissioner Weatherspoon and asked him to assist me in this process. He said he wasn't sure if the commissioners had to vote on it, but he would find out. He called me later and told me he had talked to Appel, who incidentally wrote the contract, and Chris Appel stated that no vote was needed, and all I had to do was notify the county. I called Chris Appel to confirm this, and he did. At this point, I spent money to set up articles of incorporation to finish the 2 years and 4 months left on the FBO contract. Later on, we had an airport board meeting, and it was announced that due to Mr. Warren's death, that I would be assuming the contract. Our chairman, Jerry Milton, had several negative comments concerning the assignment. Other board members present that day had positive comments about me assuming the contract. At that point, Commissioner Weatherspoon stopped the comments and said that the county had to make a lot of decisions concerning the airport and the contract. I talked to him after the meeting and asked him what caused the change. And he said that Dwight Snow had said that it did have to be voted on. Folks, I've seen attorneys disagree, but it's very rare that they do it when they're on the same team. The questions about our success are totally unwarranted. The numbers speak for themselves. We put Harnett County on the aviation map. The county is getting more sales tax and property tax from the airport than ever before. I've spoken to federal and state and other county officials, and nobody can recall a government entity taking over a private enterprise unless it was failing. This is not failing. It is thriving. I've put my heart and soul in that airport, and I'm more proud of this success than anything I have ever done in my life. The Warrens are attempting to assign this contract as a reward for my hard work and success out there. The contract simply states that an assignment cannot be unreasonably withheld. Please don't deny me this deserved reward. Before you vote tonight, please think about the liability that you will put on every taxpayer in Harnett County. Do you really want a government employee handling a $2 or $3 million airplane? Mistakes happen every day. Read the internet. 4 planes crashed in 2019 for misfueling. If you assign this contract, that liability will be on me. No Harnett County taxpayer will tote that load. You have letter after letter of recommendation for me. Do you have letters of protest, or is it just whispers in one of your ears? The naysayers all have something to gain by you denying this. Look at who is doing the whispering. We see politicians every day make decisions that are not in the best interest of taxpayers. You 5 have the opportunity tonight to step aside from that reputation and do what is right, do what is justified, and what is deserved. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Peacock. Is there anyone else on the phone that would like to address the board?
Hi there, this is Rose Teniente, and I would like to address the board.
Yes, ma'am. Please state your address for us.
Rose Teniente, 179 Tilden Howington Drive in Wellington. So I'm from an organization, Breathe Harnett, and I'm expressed my concern for the ongoing racial disparities that persist at every layer in Harnett County, which range from health, housing, income, poverty, education, and justice. These disparities manifest in heartbreaking ways, such as Black infants dying at twice the rate of white infants in the county, Black mothers being more likely to die in childbirth, Black and Hispanic families being underrepresented in homeownership, Black and Hispanic families earning so much less than white families. Now, some folks would try to convince you that this is due to the personal failings of Harnett's Black and brown residents, but that could not be further from the truth. Decades of disgusting racism beyond the Civil War, systems that were built to benefit white people, voter suppression, which we're grappling with even now, and bias and discrimination are what have caused these gross inequities. And as our elected officials, we are looking to you to take action. A few weeks ago, Commissioner Nickel brought up the idea of an equity board, but instead of calling it a racial equity board, with the focus being on how to examine how Harnett's minority communities are doing and how to build them up, he said that he wants to call it a social equity board because he was afraid of excluding other racial groups. For one, when negative outcomes have disproportionate impact on certain racial groups, it is absolutely about race. And to attempt to say that it shouldn't be at the risk of white people being excluded who are doing the best in Harnett County, when you just look at the objective data, that comes from a place of white privilege that prioritizes white comfort over Black and brown lives and well-being. That being said, I'm here to tell you, as we presented to Commissioner Nickel before, that racial equity is not a zero-sum game. And what that means is that improving the services and quality of life for our communities of color in Harnett County, achieving diversity, acknowledging that harm has been done, and educating ourselves on how to do better does not mean that white folks in Harnett County are going to lose something or be harmed. Doing equity work makes life better for everyone. And so I'm going to leave you with an example of the curb cuts. So curb cuts are where curbs are cut at a slope, so you don't need to step up several inches to get onto the curb. And this was something that was fought for by disability advocates. And so, yes, it meant the most to people using wheelchairs who, before that, really struggled to get around on curbs. And so, but when they were able to get that, when those curb cuts were put in, it did not just improve the lives of folks using wheelchairs. It improved lives for many other people, such as parents with children in strollers, delivery workers with packages on dollies, people with luggage, and so many others. And so that is exactly how racial equity works. And I'm happy to provide more information on this to help you in your decisions. I also want to put back that any racial equity work that the county does needs to focus on children. For one, children fall within the purview of county schools, and they have just established their diversity and equity committee. And we cannot wait for children to be educated and grow up and make these changes. We're the adults now, and we have our fellow folks in Harnett County, our neighbors, fellow adults now who are suffering. And so where the county has purview, such as public health, with justice, with economic development, that is where we need to focus, and that's where the county has resources to make huge changes that could benefit so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you sharing with us tonight. Anybody else on the phone that would like to share publicly? Hearing no one, we will end this period of time for public comments. And we will move to item 6 on the agenda, appointments. Mr. Weatherspoon, you have those?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we have a few here. The Harnett County Board of Equalization and Review, Mr. Doug Godwin, is interested in being appointed to serve on this board as an at-large member. I think all of our board members received a package with his information on it. The Johnston Lee Harnett Community Action Incorporated Board of Directors, Ms. Ursula McLean, is interested in being reappointed to serve on this board. Ms. McLean has served on this board since 2005. The Triangle South Workforce Development Board, the Executive Director of Triangle South Workforce Development Board would like to recommend Ms. Janet Davis for appointment regarding the vacancy on the Triangle South Workforce Development Board for Harnett County. That's all the recommendations or appointments, and I move that we approve these.
Thank you, Commissioner Weatherspoon. You've heard the motion. Do I have a second?
Johnson, seconds.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, the board will move into the sitting as the governing body of the West Central Water and Sewer District for Harnett County and the Northeast Metropolitan Water District for Harnett County. Mr. Appel.
Okay, so as brought to you last week, we have an amendment to tolling agreement. As mentioned before, the current agreement has now actually expired March 12th, 2023. So the tolling agreement the amendment would extend it for an additional 2 years to March 12th, 2023. Now, in your packet, I believe there was a amendment that was attached in there that also included an error, to correct an error regarding the Northwest Metropolitan Water District of Harnett County. It really should be the Northeast. However, that was presented to the other parties before today. We did not get a response for them to approve it and go ahead and sign it. So what we're going to do, what we agreed on with the outside counsel, is to go ahead and sign the amendment that I presented last week, which just extends the term, because time is of the essence to get this term extended since we're technically expired at this point. So we want to go ahead and get this extended. I'll come before you on another date once the other parties agree to correct the Scrivener's error, just to correct Northwest and Northeast. But again, that can be done another day. the original agreement also said Northwest, so this doesn't change the original agreement. So today I would be asking you to go ahead and approve. Now, you would be approving on 2 counts. As the Harnett County Board of Commissioners, you'll approve it if you so approve, and then also as sitting as the West Central Water and Sewer District of Harnett County and also the Northeast Metropolitan Water District of Harnett County. So you'll have 2 different approvals as sitting as 2 different boards.
Thank you, Mr. Appel. Any questions for Mr. Appel? Do I hear a motion to approve the amendment to the tolling agreement?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the amendment to the tolling agreement between Harnett County, West Central Water Sewer District of Harnett County, and the Northeast Metropolitan Water District of Harnett County.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Would you amend that to say Northwest? Is that what we're doing here?
So it's Northeast Metropolitan Water
Right.
District. That is the
But we're
correct
just
one.
going to leave it alone right now.
Yes, you're sitting as Northeast, but we're going to leave the Northwest part alone
Sounds
for
good.
now. So we're just approving the
So we're
extension.
good on the motion.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Commissioner McCoy.
Thank you. Thank Commissioner McCoy for that second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We will now, once again, be sitting as the Harnett County Board of Commissioners, and I think as Commissioners, Mr. Pella said, we will need to move on this matter as well. Not having heard no discussion earlier, do I have a motion?
Gonna remake the motion.
That'll work.
Make a motion that we approve the amendment of the tolling agreement between Harnett County, West Central Water and Sewer District of Harnett County, Northeast Metropolitan Water District of Harnett County.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Pell.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion and consideration of the Jetport Fixed-Based Operator FBO for the Harnett Regional Jetport.
Mr. Chairman, if you will, I'd like to make a statement on that, please.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, I think we all have a Warren Aviation Facts and Statistics book, and I've gone through this. I've read every word of it, as I'm sure everybody else has. And I see no discrepancy in here. I see no reason to change Warren Aviation or Gary Peacock from the airport. And not wanting to go through here and read all these facts, it looks like it's been just a vast and continued improvement from the beginning through now. So I want to express my appreciation to Mr. Peacock and to Warren Aviation for their support of the Harnett County Airport. I just feel real strong from what I've read and what I've heard from the people of the Harnett County in favor of Warren Aviation and keeping Gary Peacock intact. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any other discussion, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we send a 90-day notice of termination to Warren Investment.
Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Nichols, second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. Any further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, we'll vote on the issue. Commissioner Witherspoon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
No.
Commissioner Nickel?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Johnson, no.
Commissioner Matthews, yes. Motion carries. We'll next move to item 9A, and that is the proposed resolution concerning transaction between Harnett Health System Incorporated, HHS, and Cumberland County Hospital System Incorporated Cape Fear Valley Health System, CFVHS. Mr. Thompson, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Matthews and members of the Harnett County Commissioners, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight on behalf of our client, Harnett Health System, in conjunction with a proposed transaction with Cape Fear Valley Health System. With me tonight, if I could recognize, is Mr. Walter Massey, who's the chairman of our board, Mr. Corey Hess, is the president of Harnett Health, Mr. Mike Nagowski is the president of Cape Fear Valley Health System, of course, Dr. Brad Creed, president of Campbell University and also a member of the Harnett Health Board, as well as George Womble, who is a member of our board, and last but certainly not least, Steve Clayball, who is a member of our board. Mr. Chairman, members of the Harnett County Commission, we come to you tonight to ask that you approve a resolution that will, in effect, allow Harnett Health System and Cape Fear Valley Health System to combine their health care services for the citizens of Dunn and Harnett County. I want to thank the citizens of Harnett County and especially this Board of Commissioners for being excellent partners with the Harnett Health System in supporting the work done at both Betsy Johnson Hospital and as well as the Central Harnett Hospital. We believe that we have an excellent relationship which has been mutually beneficial to all parties. Especially want to thank Ms. McCoy, Commissioner McCoy, who serves on our board and has been a faithful board member and a valued participant in all of our discussions. And so, Ms. McCoy, we certainly thank you for all that you do on behalf of Harnett Health. In addition to the general support provided throughout the years, in 2005, Harnett County was a party to a memorandum of agreement with the City of Dunn, Betsy Johnson Hospital Authority, Harnett Health System, and Wake Med for the construction of a new hospital in Harnett County. By deed dated October 29, 2008, Harnett Forward Together Committee conveyed 20.20 acres of land for construction of a central Harnett hospital here in Lillington. Now, the transfer of this property was made subject to some conditions. First, that Harnett Health had to be able to obtain financing for a new 50-bed community hospital. And the second condition was that construction of the new hospital facility had to begin within 3 years of the recording of the deed. Of course, Harnett Health was able to obtain financing through its partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture, and the hospital was timely completed. Since the construction of the Central Harnett Hospital in Lillington in 2011, Harnett County has continued to be supportive of Harnett Health's goal of improving the quality of health care for the citizens of Harnett County. Most recently, in January of 2019, Harnett County conveyed 4.12 acres to Harnett County Properties Corporation, which in turn was, in September of 2020, conveyed to Harnett Health System for the future construction of healthcare facilities, which we will discuss at a later time tonight. However, with all the success and partnership that we had, the last 10 years, it's been a difficult time for Harnett Health. Harnett Health System, like many other rural hospital systems, has faced a very difficult and competitive healthcare environment. And by 2013, Harnett Health began to experience significant financial difficulties.
Mr. Thompson, excuse me, Mr. Mayor. For those on the phone, please mute your phones. We're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes. In 2013, Harnett Health suffered losses of $23 million, and by 2014, the losses had risen to $35 million. In an attempt to address these difficulties, the Harnett Health Board began to look for a new strategic partner. And in November of 2014, it was able to enter into a management services agreement with Cape Fear Valley Health System. Cape Fear Valley provided an immediate lifeline to Harnett Health. They extended immediately a $10 million line of credit. They waived management fees for a total of 3 years. And if you look at the calculations under the management services agreement, That accounted for a savings of approximately $2 million. In addition, they were able to significantly overhaul the revenue cycle process and reduce the cost of procuring medical supplies from third parties. Most importantly, they were able to stabilize relationship with lenders, and that being the bond holders and the trustee for the bonds for the Betsy Johnson facility, and also the USDA for the Central Harnett facility. They also helped Harnett Health reduce the interest rate on bonds and reduce the long-term debt from approximately $85.1 million in 2014 to a current amount of $74 million. They also were helpful in reducing accounts payable. In 2014, the accounts payable had skyrocketed to $16.3 million. And as of today, those accounts payable are now approximately $3.8 million, which is more in line with a hospital system of the size of Harnett Health. Restoring Harnett Health to a profitable operation was a paramount objective and goal for both Cape Fear and the Harnett Health Board. And through the cooperation of those bodies together, Harnett Health became profitable in 2016 and has remained profitable every year since then. In addition, and I think this is an important factor, Cape Fear abandoned its own plans to build a hospital in northern Cumberland County, which would pull patients from the Harnett County area. It further halted development of its own imaging system, providing urgent care in Harnett County and also physician specialty offices. When Harnett Health and Cape Fear entered into the management services agreement in November of 2014, we came before this Board of Commissioners to seek approval of that agreement and also an amendment to the bylaws of Harnett Health System, Inc., which was a way that the Board of Trustees would be selected in the future. The Harnett County Commissioners gave Harnett Health that approval. The management services agreement that was approved contained provisions whereby eventually Cape Fear could acquire 100% of the operations of Harnett Health, excluding the real estate. The reason we are here before you tonight, Mr. Chairman, is we seek your approval for the proposed changes to the Articles of Incorporation and bylaws of Harnett Health, as well as we ask for your formal termination of the 2005 memorandum between Harnett County, the City of Dunn, Harnett Health, Betsy Johnson Hospital Authority, and Wake Med. Specifically, Harnett Health and Cape Fear have agreed for Cape Fear to acquire the operations as well as the real estate of Harnett Health by entering into what's called a member substitution agreement, whereby Harnett Health will continue to operate the Harnett Health System, but Cape Fear will become the sole owner of that entity. The member substitution agreement method is different from what was provided for originally in the management services agreement, as it changes only slightly the form, but it makes a much easier process. As I said, the method allows for a transfer without any disruption in services or the revenue cycle operations. That is paramount to any healthcare organization, that there not be any disruption of services to the citizens, and certainly that each of those systems need to be able to bill and collect for those services. It also allows Harnett Health System to continue to exist without any further regulatory approvals. The proposed transaction does require the approval of the City of Dunn, the County of Harnett, and the United States Department of Agriculture, as I said, which provide the financing for Central Harnett Hospital, because there will be a change of control. I'm pleased to inform you that the City of Dunn has already given the approval by resolution approved in open session on March 9, 2021. So why did the Harnett Health Board agree to the proposed transaction with Cape Fear? The current management services agreement is only a 10-year agreement, and it's unbelievable, but we're already 6.5 years into that agreement. So the question for our board was, what happens when that agreement expires? Harnett Health Board routinely has asked Cape Fear each time that we discuss a budget When is Cape Fear going to exercise its option to acquire the operations of Harnett Health? The goal here is not the goal that our board has is to ensure that healthcare needs of the citizens of Harnett County are met. Not that it continue or to operate as a sole entity or to own real estate, but just for the purposes of owning it. The Harnett Health Board firmly believes that Cape Fear shares that goal of continuing to provide quality services to the citizens of Harnett County and surrounding areas. With this goal in mind, Harnett Health and Cape Fear discussed and agreed upon the appropriate consideration for the transfer of not only the ownership of the operations to Cape Fear, but also the real estate. First, Cape Fear will now become responsible for servicing the remainder of the long-term debt of Harnett Health, which, as I told you, is $74 million. Secondly, Cape Fear has committed to construct a $15 million medical office building adjacent to the Central Harnett Hospital facility, with plans to be approved within 1 year and construction to begin within 2 years from the date of the signing of this agreement. Third, Cape Fear has committed to build a $5 million comprehensive cancer center with radiation oncology, with the construction to begin in 3 years. Fourth, Cape Fear will pursue a certificate of need for inpatient dialysis. Fifth, Cape Fear plans to install an Epic electric health record system, resulting in about a $20 million investment in both license fees and installation cost. Six, Cape Fear, believing that healthcare needs need to be handled locally, plans to expand medical services in a number of specialty areas that are otherwise not currently available in Harnett County. So again, why does the Harnett Health Board believe that the proposed transaction best address the medical care needs of Harnett County and surrounding areas? As I've said before, the best indicator of whether someone will do what they say in the future is to look at what they've done in the past. Cape Fear committed to the Harnett Health Board in 2014 that they would use their best efforts to turn things around financially and from an operational standpoint. In the past 6 years, Harnett Health believes that Cape Fear has done that by instituting best practices of financial management and medical care to the citizens of Harnett County. Harnett Health and Cape Fear's partnership has been a marvelous example of how you can get things done effectively and efficiently. I think if nothing tells us any more about this partnership is the recent success that Harnett Health has enjoyed in the ongoing COVID-19 vaccination process, which I think is an example for the entire state and possibly the nation to follow. But that is only one example of the success that they have enjoyed together. Again, all of this would not have been possible but for the original support of this board with the conveyance of property to allow Harnett Health System to build the Central Harnett Hospital and to approve the transaction, the management services agreement in 2014. Now we ask for your help again. We respectfully request that the Harnett County Commissioners approve the resolution that you have been provided, approving the amended articles of incorporation and bylaws of Harnett Health System, and formally terminating the 2005 Memorandum of Understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Any questions for Mr. Thompson before he has a seat?
Good.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Chairman, I think this is a really good move, and it's going to be good for the future of Harnett County.
Thank you, Commissioner Witherspoon.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
Make a motion that we approve proposed resolutions concerning transaction between Harnett Health System Incorporated, HHS, and Harnett County Hospital System Incorporated, doing business as Cape Fear Valley Health System, CFVHS.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Stewart, do we need to read this resolution into the minutes, or are we good with this hard copy?
It was presented as hard packets, and that's.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome to stay. If you decide to leave, though, that we understand that as well. But thank you for all you do for our citizens, and thank you for your willingness to support us and continue to provide health care for our citizens in Harnett County. We appreciate it. Look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Walter. Okay, we're to that portion on the agenda for the county manager's report. Ms. Stewart?
Thank you so much. I don't have anything other than the upcoming meetings, invitations, and dates of interest. Next week is a free week for y'all. We don't have a board meeting. We don't have a work session. So next week you have a week off. Then we will pick up on Tuesday, March 30th at 9 a.m. with a work session, followed by that Friday, April 2nd is a holiday for Harnett County government. And then we'll have a board meeting the following Monday, April 5th at 9 a.m. And that's all I have for the.
Did you repeat that date for next Tuesday?
Yes, so our next meetings are Tuesday, March 30th at 9 a.m. for a work session. And then Friday, April 2nd is Good Friday, so we are closed. And then Monday, April 5th at 9 a.m. is our board meeting. We'll be back on regular meetings after that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Do we have any new business to come before the board tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have some new business. I'd like to put it on the next work session if we can to re-look at the Golden Adventures building that's down on the western side of the county, Johnsonville, the senior citizens group. There's got to be a way that we can figure out something in order to help them out down there. I met with them earlier today. And I'll tell you now, just be glad that they're 80 years old and most of them are in wheelchairs and canes. And they wanted me to convey to you that they'd be up here raising hell if they could. So I definitely think it's something that we need to take a look at. We need to take care of our senior citizens, especially services provided to them, especially out on that western side. It'd be one thing to change or move them or put them elsewhere if driving and the location wasn't all just a huge factor. So.
Thank you, Mr. Nickel. Ms. Stewart, will you put that down for our 30th work session on the 30th? Thank you.
I'll be glad to.
Anything else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the board go into closed session for the following purpose: to discuss certain personnel matters. This motion's made pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-318.11A6.
Thank you, Commissioner Witherspoon. We have a motion to go into closed session. Is there a second?
Second.
Is that you, Commissioner Nickel?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now be moving into closed session.